we've talked many times on this show that there are stratum in the interwebs and on broadcast television where, the top of the line, your CNNs, your MSNBCs, your Fox News, your, the real ratings, where everything really happens. And then there's your kind of top tier media sites that also have a YouTube channel that are that are controlling certain levels of it, that you can jump on. This would be, for all practical purposes, your Newsmaxes, and then there's like a real cliff where it goes to RAN and Real America's Voice, but the puckered butthole of the internet as far as showing up for an interview these days is really Fleshpoint. Fleshpoint, if you're not familiar, I think that's what it's called, is a quasi-religious faux Christian channel that mainly just hypes Trump now. Jesus is so 2,000 years ago, and the chances of Trump running again are about the same as Jesus coming back any day now. And they've decided to just flip a coin, and it landed, tails, so that means Trump. And he calls in. I don't know if they're going to do obviously he's doing damage control on the January 6 hearings. And that's eating up a good portion of his day. So he has decided to visit the prolapsed anus of the internet and be interviewed by, of course, our favorite Gene the Jesus Machine, the man who has the forehead Trump truly has and isn't afraid to show it. And there's going to be an ad. Mosquito bites, stop them for good or for bad.
Right now, I've got a special caller on.
Oh, they brought out the red phone. Yeah, and are they going to? So embarrassing. Are they going to cut straight to this prick? By the way, this is what the ringtone sounds like when Trump calls in. For the record, are they going to cut to him holding it up to his ear? I mean, commit to the fucking bit. Hold it up to your ear the whole show. Come on.
The line, President.
That was convincing. What the fuck was that?
Right now, I've got a special caller on the line. President Trump.
Just leave it off the hook next to a microphone. Is that what we're doing?
Are you there?
I am indeed, Gene. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Great to
All right, I'm beginning to think this is like a prank call already.
be with you, Pastor.
I know you only got you for a few minutes, but I got to ask you this question. Listen, we're seeing this unselect committee hold a kangaroo court.
Is he using enough of Trump's own buzzwords to make him feel good?
You're not getting any time. I want to give you some.
No. He could have plenty of time, but he would have to be under oath like everybody else, and he refuses to do it. This isn't about. And by the way, come on, blather. By the way, the fact that he's saying you're not getting any time. This is why they basically said I need to go on and start. I don't have a Twitter account. And nobody's on Truth Social. It's a joke. So I need to just go on anywhere that will have me and just flail.
Some time to tell your side.
Yeah, just finally, in Jesus' name, but not under oath.
Well, it is a very unfair situation. We have essentially no Republicans. You certainly wouldn't consider two former Republicans to be Republican.
They're current Republicans. He means Kinzinger and Cheney.
And the Democrats. And it's a totally partisan witch hunt. It's a continuation of what's gone on for a long time.
With the Russia, and Ukraine, and a perfect phone call and a perfect.
What you really look at is the Russia hoax. You have the same people. That's been totally debunked and made totally illegitimate and totally illegal. And you have the same.
Made totally illegal? All right. Who is in charge of writing his cue cards? Lauren Boebert?
Same people, Adam Schiff, and all of these people. The same people are saying the same things. It is so disgraceful to our country. We can't talk about making our country great anymore because all they do is investigate everybody. And
they only investigate people who want to make it great. It's just, man, I don't know why they must do this. They have to.
Absolute disgrace. And so
it's the only way they can stop America from being great is if they just run a constant interference against it. It's brutal.
So bad.
So
when I look at it and I watch And, it's all misinformation and disinformation.
All right.
And I watch
Right.
what they do. It's the same thing they did with the
Same thing.
Ukraine situation, 2 impeachments, 2 fake impeachments.
Well, they were real, actually. You got impeached twice. You just didn't get expelled because the Republicans held the Senate. Let's get another bite at that apple.
And the Russia hoax. And it's the same people, the same names. They lose that.
That's just because they still have their job. They all got either reelected or have, kept their job. That's why it's the same people. Notice it's not the same people in the White House because you fucking lost.
And then they go on to the next one. It's a scam.
It is a scam. And
it is. Thanks, Gene. Thanks for staying, true to your biblical values.
it's a ratings disaster, as we saw on television. No one.
As we saw on television, as we watched it, I watched every disgusting moment of that filth. And
really cares
twice.
Because they're thinking about the economy. People can't drive across town without spending a fortune on gasoline. Tell me, President Trump, what's going to happen with this economy? Even CNN is saying it's worse than Jimmy Carter era.
Well, this
is that the quote?
Is worse than Jimmy Carter. This is a combination, I think, of
Jimmy Carter and Herbert Hoover.
Jimmy Carter and Herbert Hoover.
Yeah, he's just repeating the points. These are just tee-ups.
This is a combination of some of the worst management. If I say oftentimes, if you added up the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States, they wouldn't equal what's happened to our country.
He's leaning over, pulling some toilet paper right now. That's what the grunting is about.
In the last year and a half, and it's horrible. Now today, they got a bounce of a year and a half from what I did.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And now they're starting to have to take credit for themselves, and the credit's turning into a disaster. So the Dow, which is unthinkable, went under.
The Dow is unthinkable.
30,000. NASDAQ is even worse.
NASDAQ.
Relatively speaking.
And
you look at what's going on. I mean, it's a combination of 1929 and Jimmy Carter.
It is.
Oh, so it's 1929 run by a truly decent human being who means well and is a genuine Christian. Huh. Actually, that might have worked out better.
It's definitely that. All right, so President Trump...
That's not a good combination.
No, it's definitely not a good combination.
Yes, Jimmy Carter's a Christian, and Gene hates that.
I just want to ask you this question. What would be the first thing you would do if you were something happened and you were handed this administration? What would be the very first thing you would do to turn this...
Yes, details. Let's hear it.
Economy around.
Well, as you know, we had a rigged and stolen election.
Oh, answer the question.
And everybody understands it and they know it. And
no, they don't.
Russia wouldn't have happened with Ukraine. You'd have tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people alive, and those cities would be flourishing. It's a disgrace that was allowed to happen.
That it was okay. So that was allowed to happen. We should have struck Russia before they invaded. Okay, so had they lined up at the border, you just would have nuked them. Is that the detail? We'll just take that as a detail.
And inflation and the economy and jobs and all of the things.
Yes, we know there are problems. We're humans. What was your solution again? What was the one thing that you would do? Remember the question you were asked?
That we've seen. In my opinion, when you look at Afghanistan, that was the most embarrassing.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Moment in the history of our country where we left dead soldiers, we left American patriots behind, and we gave the Taliban
No, we didn't.
billion worth of the best equipment in the world.
Yeah, it was shredded, but
it was unthinkable. We take our military out first.
What are you nodding about, Gene? That is not true. The 85 million, not true. Also, the soldiers that were killed by a suicide bomber from ISIS, whom Trump claims he wiped out 100% of their caliphate and wiped them off the earth.
So, I mean, when you look at it, so easy, you start drilling. You become energy independent. We were energy.
You start drilling. Okay, so you're going to open an oil company. You've given up on politics, and you've decided that the best way forward is just to overproduce oil. That's your next line of business. That's Trump oil. It's coming in your way, and it'll be here in 2 weeks.
Energy independent. We were energy dominant, and now
we're still energy independent.
We're going to places that are unthinkable to get. We're going to Venezuela. We're going to Iran. We're actually indirectly, as you know, going to Russia.
No, we're not.
Oil is selling for the highest price in history.
No, it isn't. Oil is not selling for the highest price in history. Oh, God. Now I have to look up oil prices again. Okay, oil prices. Let's see. Let's see. Energy and oil. Okay, still at still where we left it. $110 a barrel. $114 a barrel for Brent crude. Crude oil out of Tokyo is 883,000 yen. And then natural gas is 685. Basically, let's see if there's a chart overview emissions. Let's see. There's got to be a chart on. Let's look at oil prices. Like oilprice.com, I think is one of those. There you go. Crude oil prices and all charts. Let's look at the charts. Let's go to the charts, and we go. And here's crude is a maximum. Let's go back up here. Goes back to 17. Hold on one second. No, 1 year, I think. Hold on. Oil. I'll just do oil. I'll look up a chart. This one only goes back to 17. Oil prices, 2000 to 2022. Here we go. There we go. Oh, hey, look at that. Here's the chart. This is where it is. Right here. Here's September 2008. Remember how I told you that all of our economic crashes and our inflation problems often are preceded by a spike in oil prices? $187 a barrel. We're currently at 110. Get way up here on the end. And then let's see, back here, we're close. There's $142 a barrel. That was in 1980. Let's see, we're close to, let's see, that's 2011. There's it was higher in 2013. It was definitely higher in 2014. And by the way, this is the lesson for everybody. See this right here in 2014? This is August of 2014. It's 120. Let me get on there. 129.18. See that? That's the peak. 100. That's June of 2014, and then December of 2014, it's at $66 a barrel. That's how volatile oil is, depending on supply and availability. We're not even close to the highest.
They're all making a fortune. Even Russia fighting a war is making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Well, why don't you get them to loan you some?
And the ruble is at an all-time high.
Yeah, that's totally legit.
Of that one.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous. It's very, very sad. We're energy independent. We were soon going to be bigger than Russia and.
Well, we are energy independent. That's true.
Saudi Arabia combined by a lot, and he stopped that. And
no, he didn't.
That's what started it, Gene. The energy, because everything needs energy. Even your beautiful church and your beautiful anything you have, whether.
Yes, your beautiful penis, Gene. Just say it. You know you want to say it. Just say it.
It's a car, whether it's a tractor for the farmers, whether it's trucks for delivery, everything needs energy. And we've made it so expensive that inflation started. And now it has to do with, now every part of the economy is a inflation disaster.
By the way, just in case you forgot, Trump, Saudi oil deal. Let's see if that should. Honestly, if you heard him talk about Biden, you would think Biden made this deal. As the United States pressed Saudi Arabia to end its oil price war with Russia, President Donald Trump gave Saudi leaders an ultimatum. He did not give Putin an ultimatum, if you'll notice. In the April 2nd phone call, Trump told Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman that unless the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, started cutting oil production, he would be powerless to stop lawmakers from passing legislation to withdraw U.S. troops from the kingdom. 4 sources familiar with the matter told Reuters. The threat to upend a 75-year strategic alliance, which has not been previously reported, was central to the U.S. pressure campaign that led to a landmark global deal to slash oil supply as demand collapsed in the coronavirus pandemic. I got the price of gas down to $1.87. Scoring a diplomatic victory for the White House. Trump delivered the message to the Crown Prince 10 days before the announcement of production cuts. The kingdom's de facto leader was so taken aback by the threat that he ordered his aides out of the room so he could continue to discuss the discussion in private, according to a U.S. source who was briefed on the discussion. The effort illustrated Trump's strong desire to protect U.S. oil industry from a historic price meltdown as governments shut down economies worldwide to fight the virus. It also reflected a telling reversal of Trump's longstanding criticism of the oil cartel, which he has blasted for raising energy costs for Americans with supply cuts that usually lead to higher gasoline prices. Now, Trump was asking OPEC to slash output. That deal just started to end. The first part of it phased out in April, and the rest of it phases out this fall.
Yes, sir. I would make sure I get the energy down. Once the energy comes down, I really think other things will start to move in that direction.
Amen. Well, we're looking forward to that day. President Trump, thank you for stopping by. Anytime you can call the red phone, we're always glad to have you here. We're praying for you. The Flashpoint Army is praying for you. And
yes, it's nothing says Jesus like an army.
Every viewer of this program is praying that we see you again soon.
Yes, not just on the phone. We're tired of you calling in. We want to see you in the studio at Flashpoint, just sitting in long form, right next to Hank and Lanny Walnuts.
Well, Pastor, you do a great job, and I appreciate it, and we're with you 1,000%. You know that.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Well, that was a moment in Gene's life that I think he'll be reflecting on for years to come.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
He just hangs up the fake phone. Really? He did that? He's following through with the bit.
You never know when you tune into Flashpoint just exactly what's going to happen. So
he insisted on you putting him on the air.
Let me, we have quite a program tonight. We may go a little bit long. So,
well, yeah, obviously Trump cut in and squoze the break for 5 minutes.
So just tell your friends, social media, we're going to talk about January 6th. Let me bring in my friend Floyd Brown from the Western Journal. Floyd, you heard President Trump there. I want to get your comment right off the top.
I'm still chubbing, Gene.
Been involved. You have quite a history in politics going back to the Reagan.
Hold on one second. I want to say for the record, I watch Flashpoint like every night when I'm on third shift. I would just, what I do is, most of the time I dial in to watch Lanny Walnuts and Gene the Jesus Machine. I don't know who this feller is, but I'm sure he's good people if he's on Flashpoint.
Years. I want to ask, do you think that's correct? The first thing, what President Trump said with the open up the pipeline, get the economy back in line, going the right.
Hey, man. Yeah. Hey, man, open up the pipeline. You don't even need a nozzle on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Just let it pour out. People can go up to it with buckets like Bartertown and Mad Max.
Would that indeed cause everything to fall in place?
I think it would. Energy powers everything. We have to have energy.
Absolutely, man. That's why Don Jr. Gets them special grains from South America.
When you look at the history of mankind is all about energy. Great progress came when we moved from wood to coal.
Oh, well, some of us have not moved from wood to coal, man. How do you think I get on Santa's naughty list?
Great progress came when we moved from coal to petroleum, and then great progress came when we moved to nuclear. So,
all right, so we just 100% nuclear. God gave us that energy. We just got to bury that shit after the fact. Otherwise, I don't know if you guys know this, but too much exposure to radiation will make your forehead grow and your teeth fall out.
Energy is really central to our economy and central to economic growth and central to our success. And I think that's part of why President Trump was so successful.
That's right.
But I want to talk about one thing the president said, and that was he called this January 6th committee a scam.
That was, yeah. I mean, he doesn't, it's so ironic he would use that word at the same time when, you know, if you sign up to give money on his website, it just auto debits your account. It's hilarious.
But it's really worse than that.
Oh, it's worse than a scam? Tell me a story.
It's an attempt to make it so that he can't run again.
Yeah, don't worry about it. His liver's taking care of that.
By using this, you know, crazy rule that was passed after the Civil War.
Yeah, you know, that I have to say, this feller, I'm guessing you are not a fan of most rules that were passed after the Civil War, if you know what I'm saying.
That, quote, an insurrectionist can't run for political office.
Right.
And so this whole kangaroo court, this whole circus that we're watching, it's a tragedy for the nation, but there's an agenda behind it.
It's almost like they don't want something like January 6th to happen again. And I don't know if y'all understand that. This is like Jan 6, that's me and my buddy's idea of a good time. We don't even need to do it at the Capitol. We can do it, just find a bar, roller rink, elementary school. Same shit, different day.
It's important to understand the agenda that these people have.
Hear it.
And it's a
Tell me about that. By the way, do you work at WordPress?
very, very evil agenda. And it's an agenda to try and stop him from legally being able to run for president.
Huh.
What they want to do is basically declare him an insurrectionist.
Right.
Say he is in a sense a terrorist or an enemy combatant to the country.
Right. Okay. Good. All right. I thought they were just going to, you know, pass a funny hair rule.
And then have some left-wing judge somewhere rule that he can't run for president.
Oh yeah, the left-wing judges like that one Trump appointed that kicked his case out of no. That wouldn't work.
And that's the evil agenda behind the whole
thing. The evil agenda.
Evil agenda is right. And you know,
it is right. You know what, Gene, one of my favorite things about you is taking the last two words of whatever was said by the guest and just saying whatever it is right. That's a skill, man. I could never do that.
You know, Joe Biden made a lot of predictions. Well, we want to show you a quick clip with Joe Biden and his bold predictions. Watch.
Before I took office, there were a lot of folks out there making some pretty bold predictions about how things would turn out. You might remember some of the predictions.
They're coming for your guns, they're coming for your jobs, and they're coming for your freedom.
Is this later in the campaign? Because Joe's looking a little bloated.
They hate American energy, and Joe Biden will shut it all down. He's going to.
That if I became president,
Biden's elected, he will wipe out your energy industry.
Another prediction, that is my favorite one, I must add, is that if I got elected,
gas prices going $5, $6, $7 for a gallon. Flood your
Oh, it's the same dude that cut this together that did Jimmy Dore's video.
Communities with criminal aliens, drugs, and crime.
Yeah, that's just the staff at Flashpoint, though. In all honesty, they got to have some people working there. Come on.
While they live behind beautiful gated compounds, they try to take away your gun. Second Amendment, they want to take it away.
No. I mean, the dude, like, Biden's basically the world's greatest shotgun salesman.
While they enjoy private security that's fully armed.
I never understood that one.
To spend trillions of dollars rebuilding.
You know what the nice thing about Flashpoint is that one of the good things about watching a Christian program is they don't cut people out of context.
Foreign nations, fighting foreign wars, and defending foreign borders.
So for all those predictions of doom and gloom 6 months in, here's where we stand.
Do you want to use the word recession or depression?
Think of the single mom struggling to put food on the table each month.
You know, it's sad.
So if your primary concern right now is
this is honest to God, like this Flashpoint's attempt to like do their own daily show.
Inflation.
We could stop it in 30 minutes.
All right, let's hear it.
When I took office,
He finally went outside. He went to get an ice cream.
look, the bottom line is this.
I say you're not doing a very good job. Because he can't take any questions now from the press.
I know, guys. Let me introduce the rest of the team here. Creative editing, John
Creative editing. That's a good way of putting it, man.
Graves, Million Voices, and Lucas Miles, author of The Christian Left.
Author of The Christian Left. Are there any Christians left at Flashpoint?
Gentlemen, of course, that's creative editing, a little bit of fun there.
Yeah, we call it false witness.
But it's not, John, it's not so much fun when you think about everything that was edited in there is exactly what has happened.
It's exactly right. It's almost prophetic, Gene.
Yeah, almost. Kind of like what Lanny Walnuts, almost prophetic.
President Trump just told you to me, I believe God can speak through children. The Bible's clear about that.
Yes, and even adults with the minds of children.
But he speaks through world leaders a lot of times, even the Pharisees when they didn't even know it.
So Trump is a Pharisee. Okay.
President Trump said something, and if you have ears to hear, I want you to hear this again tonight.
What the hell else am I supposed to use them for?
When they were coming after him, this whole weaponless insurrection is all about
Well, it wasn't weaponless. They had guns.
Trump, just like
They had bear mace and bats and sharpened flagpoles. They took weapons and shields from cops.
we talked about. It's all a witch hunt to try to get him to not be able to run in 2024.
Yeah, I understand that's your angle.
He made this comment while he was still the president. He said, y'all all think they're coming after me.
Y'all all think. That's what he said? Man, he throws on that accent like Hillary.
And they're doing all this stuff to come after me. They're really after you.
Right. Yeah, that's right out of the dictator's handbook, man.
I'm just in the way.
Well, he's often in the way. Trump, have you ever tried to get to the omelet bar? Shit, man. You end up with a fistful of condiments and no plate.
And when he said that, I knew he understands that he's the mouthpiece that can speak some of the things.
Well, he's certainly not the brain pan. Yeah, he's the mouthpiece, brother. That's what he's looking for. You can count on him to be the mouthpiece. None of the thinking goes on, but basically he's a bullhorn.
Things that most of us normal Americans cannot speak, Gene. So you just...
Yes, most Americans with a conscientious view towards grammar can't even make those word sentence shapes fall out of their faces.
He told about guns. He, if you will...
Did you say guns or gunts? Just saying.
Prophesied even about the price of gas, and we're already there within 2 years. So
that's right.
It is about Trump. It's always been about Trump to them. They lose their minds on him.
Well, no, he did nearly get... I don't think if Romney pulled this shit, everybody'd be just as pissed. They'd be surprised.
And he's been God's instrument, even with his imperfections, just like...
Yeah, that's what I call them, imperfections. It is imperfect to grab a woman by the pussy, but it is by no means beyond God's mysterious plan.
We all have. God used him for some...
Oh, so you grab women by the pussy too?
Incredible things, and I believe God's not done with him.
Well, I agree. The next phase might be punishment, but he certainly doesn't look happy.
I agree. He's not done with him.
Why didn't we get to hear from the right-wing left guy? Motherfucker. Whoops, wrong one. Hi, everybody. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. And, that is Chris, that is a TV network that is run by, Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland is the mega church preacher dude who was famously, he was kind of journalistically ambushed by the woman asking why he needed a couple of planes, and he kind of freaks out to her. That dude. And most of the time he's kind of took over where Jim Baker left off and sells a lot of prepper shit and has a giant church. And one of the things he sets up is this tax-free television network, and part of it is part of the programming is Flashpoint. And Flashpoint is where these prophesying preachers come on and tell us all that Trump's going to come back and he really is president and all this stuff. And when it doesn't work out, hey man, they're on the next day. Yeah. Yeah, the guy who looks like the Joker. Yeah. He's a horrible person. And so it's no surprise that the crowd he's gathered around him are equally sketchy.